Hello, we're here with the Evaluate Solution section of Project 126. A quick note for step 20, I actually recommend you go ahead and complete that after you've done step 18, but before 19 is finished. The reason is I have to 3D print step 19 for you, and so that's going to take some time, but you don't need your actual part to complete step 20. So go ahead and do this. Then when you get your 3D part back, you can finish 19 and 21. So for step 20, you're going to have to do some calculations, and you are going to need some of the information from previous steps that you've done. So we're going to calculate the cost of manufacture. Some numbers that you're going to need is the design cost is $30 per hour for the time you spent on this project. So what you need to do is consider how many class periods it took you to complete through step 18. And then at 50 minutes per class period, find out how many hours you spent on the project, and your design cost is $30 an hour. You need material cost. The 3D print filament is $25 per kilogram, and you're going to need to figure out the total cost of your design. Then the production cost, which is the time to print, is 80 cents per hour for time to print, which includes the cost of the printer depreciation, aka printer use, the electricity, the maintenance, so on and so forth. If you want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge and feel like you're good at math, go ahead and take those numbers and see if you can figure this all out. If you want a little more help, then I'm going to show you the formulas to use. So in the 126, there's our cost formulas and examples. So when you open that up, you're going to see this. The total cost for your project is the print cost of your project plus the material cost plus the development cost. Let's take a closer look at each one of these. So starting with the print cost. The print cost is ultimately equal to the print time divided by 60 times 0.8. Now, if you want a more detailed breakdown of where we get that, if you look at more production cost and material cost examples right here, then here's a little dimensional analysis showing how we cancel out our units and our conversions that we use, the number of minutes to print divided by 60 minutes per hour times 0.8 per hour will give us our production, our print cost. However, this is the ultimate formula. What you need is our print time, PT. This comes from the Dremel cloud. And if you look at PT, I'll go to one of my examples so that you can see it. Your PT is found right here at your estimated print time. So that's where you get that number. Get that number, plug it into this formula, and you're going to get the cost for your print. Here's an example. Let's say it takes 30 minutes to print according to the Dremel print cloud. We divide that by 60, multiply that by 0.8, and that gives us a cost to print. This number goes right here. The next number that you need is the material cost. This is the cost of the filament used. We can use the same breakdown if you want to look at it over here. The amount of grams that you've used, your conversion factor is 1,000 grams per kilogram at $25 per kilogram. But the final formula is once again using the Dremel print cloud, the grams of material used. Now that number is right here, the amount of filament in the print cloud. So if we take those and plug them into our formula, we'll get the cost of material. For example, if I have to have 10 grams of material, 10 divided by 1,000 times 25 gives me a material cost of 25 cents for using 10 grams of material. That's the cost of the filament. And then this number will go right here. The final one is our development cost. This is the design time in hours times $30 an hour. And so once again, the design time comes from your estimate. How many class periods did you take at 50 minutes per class period? How many hours did it take you? So if it took you a little over 3 class periods to get your STL file to me, you could say your design time is 3 hours. So in this example, I have 2 hours estimated times $30 an hour gives me $60 for development time. And that number will go right up here in development cost. And so to find our total cost to print, we take all of our numbers with that formula, we add them all together, and get a final print cost for my example of $60.65. Once you have gotten that and you need to document your math properly, you need to put your documentation into step 20. Remember, once again, our properly documented math is going to include the labels of telling us what we're calculating, all of the formulas, all the numerical substitutions, and our answers with units. So I should see this right here for each one of these 3 formulas. So let's look at an example of a submission. Now, this one did not necessarily get full points because the formulas were not entirely documented correctly. However, I can see that all the math was done. So some points were removed. However, all of the math was done and the print cost was calculated correctly. So let's look at our rubric. For full points, our cost of manufacturing calculations are correct and have properly documented math shown. This one, the example I showed you, got an 8 for having cost of manufacturing calculations correct, and some of the math is shown, but it might not have been properly documented. The next step for evaluating the solution is 21, testing your design for ease of use. You'll do this after you get your print back, and once you've done that, you need to check and test. Does it meet your criteria? Can you easily attach the charm? Would it be easy to use? And then record your observations in the submission document. And that's going to go, once again, in number 21. And so we can see here that they've noted it's easy to attach, the hole's in a good position, it's easy to use, so our information has been included. Our relevant observations are included. And that is how you complete the Evaluate Solution section for Project 126.